Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions, 4 p.m. UK time on a Tuesday, it's a sunny Tuesday afternoon, and I've got three happy smiley faces here in Anthony Lee, Evelyn Demirov, and of course, Zach Franklin. How you doing, boys?
Very nice.
Doing good.
Fantastic. Cool. For those that are living under a rock, we'll start with you, Zach. Do you want to give a little bit of background on yourself?
Sure. Let me see. So yeah, I've been out in China doing Amazon stuff for like 4 years until the pandemic hit. Been a speaker at pretty much every big marketing conference in Asia and Europe. And now I'm just hiding out on an island waiting for COVID to end and working on all my own e-com stuff. I sell a lot of super expensive stuff online. The highest priced product I have on my site is like $47,000. And I'm trying to get to the point where
have you sold any of those yet?
Not yet, but
not yet.
My largest order so far was like $12,000.
Yeah.
Cars just sitting there, and then your Shopify goes off like, oh shit, is that real? You know, and so that's been really fun, and I've been trying to get to 20,000 products online this year. And so doubled the team in the last week and going through all that. Also building some new software, which I'll talk about at some point whenever I get that done.
Yeah.
And then I always have like another 10 things going on. So
yeah, you're always writing code for something. Every time we speak, you're working on something new. Anthony, we've had a move now, haven't we? Where are you now?
Yeah, so I am Amazon subject matter expert for Canopy Management at this point.
Yes.
Recently started that venture, so that's been taking the bulk of my focus. Although I do make time on occasion where possible to speak at virtual events, since there's just such a slow rollout for in-person live events. Looking forward to actually being on a solid stage again, though.
Well, hopefully that'll be July 31st. I know I keep changing the date, but let's see what happens with this proclamation on the 7th of June. But the three of you will be at Seller Sessions. So what else has been going on, Anthony? So it was your last move was Signal Linux. Do you want to tell people your career path? Because you've kind of worked at some of the biggest companies, haven't you? You started out at the ranking company. What was that company called before its name was changed?
It started off as Zonblast. So I started my career in Amazon, that was some pretty quick success as a brand owner. As such, I was immediately referred to a bunch of brands of varying sizes to consult for them. And then I also was asked to help a friend build his company, which turned into Zonblast and later Six Leaf.
Yeah.
That I was with them for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years. And then moved over
you've done a transfer with Barkers, didn't you? It was like the end of football season, the end of the last day transfer where we see you two in your Helium 10 tops. And so you both went to Helium 10. Then your next stop was...
And then I was with them for a little while, but I got an amazing offer I couldn't refuse to go and help start Signalytics under a year contract, which I fulfilled. And then after that, I was 100% going to go solo. But Canopy also provided an amazing offer. And on top of that, I got to learn a little bit more about what they do. And I'm really excited about how I can help.
So Canopy, is owned by Brian Johnson, who's like one of the biggest PPC guys. The reason I asked all that steps is because we're going to be talking about the mythical A10, which doesn't exist. It's important that with both two engineers on the call and the fact that the amount of work that you've done to ranking, just so for once and for all, we can dispel this myth. Evelyn, a little bit of background, please.
I have my own company I'm in Canada, Montreal. So specialize in custom design products, selling on Amazon since 2008. Also founder of the Orange Hat Summit, an accelerator for advanced Amazon sellers, and local group in Montreal for Amazon sellers, and founder of the rivercleaner.com.
Cool. And another legendary ranking expert. I love having you guys on because between the three of you, there's not much people you don't know between three of you when it comes to ranking on Amazon. That's why I wanted to put this call together. So let's just kick the thing off. I mean, Do you agree? Have you seen this yourself? Every so often, it came back to a conversation the other day. I was speaking to someone and they said, Dan, have you heard about the new A10? And I'm like, mate, you got to put this one to bed. This is fucking died years ago. Why do we keep talking? No, it's a real. I said, how do you know it's real? Any official announcement? Have you done a? No. I've been on good authority. I went, who's the authority? And he couldn't come up with any good authority. So I want to put the end to this. And even you've studied it, Zach, you studied it as well, Anthony. Like, you can't just knock out A9 overnight and then just jump to 10. You don't just scrap the whole algorithm, do you? And then you just move to the next one, or you just update it. I was saying to Evelyn off call, it's almost like when you hear the update A10, what, A11 and A12, they're like A roads off the motorway.
Then you got the A12 Max and the A12 Max Pro, and
yeah, it's just it's getting silly. So I thought we'd just kill that one off, because the amount of work it takes to build something so sophisticated that's going back a long time. So starting with you, Evelyn, you what's your take on all this? It keeps coming up every so often. Do you want to explain as a developer how tough it is to build something like that?
So we need to understand something, that every time Amazon changes something, there is a big risk for them losing a lot of money.
Yeah.
And this is why they're doing very gradual changes from time to time before they decide to move in some direction. But I understand the urge of people to give a name behind the algorithm, because it changes so often. It's like in Google Panda and all the other animals. You have to give it a name so that you can refer to something. So I believe this is where this A10 comes from. They just want to give it a name because major changes happened in the last year or so. So, but officially, I haven't seen any A10, and this is actually not like it's not a change that happened overnight. They've been doing a lot of this small tests here and there in the last few years until they finally implemented the change. And a lot of people in all the different categories actually seen the impact of that change. And I believe this is where the A10 came in. And the other reason why some people claim the A10 is because they just want to capitalize on the
social currency. It's a little bit of virtual signaling. And that's the thing, is it ends up in articles, and then the articles obviously get shared. Look, I understand. There's times I get stuff wrong. I have to then come back on air and say, look, I fucked up, and put my hands up. But there are things I think it's really important, because it's just very misleading. Anthony, what's your take on the old A10 thing?
I think mine's probably a little bit more cynical than Evelyn's. I think, okay, so for starters, just as Evelyn mentioned, changes are rolled out slowly. Some changes have a bigger immediate impact. If you ever have the opportunity to kind of look at some of the wikis and internal to Amazon and see like how they kind of talk to their employees about, the process of testing things. They have entire databases that run parallel with what they currently have live on Amazon that they test everything on. And it's a very stringent and rigorous process that can, potentially mess up a whole bunch of stuff. They even have protocols for rolling everything back if like the smallest thing changes. So they're constantly testing stuff. Every now and again, we see like a big change. Every now and again, they accompany a big change with a terms of service update. So we're used to, in this environment, the algorithm changing and things changing for us. Look at the evolution of the launch. How coupons used to work differently than they do now. How, URLs and redirects and chatbots kind of evolved, even over the last 6 months. But what I think is happening is you have opportunist marketers who want to get attention and elevate their status. So what they do is they create these marketing terms, A10, that's what that is. And it becomes dangerously misleading because that makes everybody think that A9 was an iteration. It's not. It's literally the name of the subsidiary. It's called A9. There wasn't an A8. There will not be an A10.
Yeah.
A10 is the subsidiary. They do all these testing, and they slowly change the algorithm in such a way that they create the perfect search and buy opportunity for everybody that comes to the Amazon marketplaces across the world. That's their goal. Want to maximize the experience. Anyway, so that's I think how that perpetuates.
All right. So let me just quickly. This is from. Let me just pull it up here from one of the research papers that I was going through. There is it. Yeah, give an example. Amazon's one of the world's largest e-commerce sites, and Amazon Search powers the majority of Amazon sales. As a consequence, even small improvements in relevance ranking both positively influence the shopper experience of millions of customers and significantly impact revenue. In the past, Amazon's product search engine consists of several hand-tuned ranking factors, ranking functions using a handful of input features. So effectively what they're saying there is like what you're saying, they have to be careful of the impact they have. And even if they do take a small change in relevance, because the impact on millions of customers, it can be very positive. And there's obviously the inverse effect of that. That's why you can't just dump and trash something off and then go, okay, now, it's A10, we've skipped that. We've skipped some generations. Zach, what's your take?
Yeah, so this year I've been getting a little bit more into the Western Amazon ecosystem, but typically I'm deep in the Chinese, and they've never really talked about A10. But when I look at the Western Facebook groups, it's always Bangladeshi, Pakistani VAs and stuff that are talking about A10. I never hear anyone else really talk about it too much. But I think the best source for Amazon's mindset about how they actually do this stuff, there's a website called amazon.science.
Yes.
Do you guys know about this?
Yeah.
I think everyone on the call does, but I don't know about everyone listening. And it's a fascinating site. It might be super boring and difficult to get through some of the articles. But it's the actual Amazon team that works on this stuff and shows you how they think about stuff. For example, I'm on an article right now predicting answers to product questions using similar products.
Yeah.
And it'll go through and it'll literally tell you how they rank these or how they use similar products or how they solve for all sorts of really tricky different scenarios. So for anyone that's actually interested in how their algorithm works, they have some people that are really proud of the work they're doing at Amazon and want to talk about it. But they're talking about it more to people that are really interested in data science and how stuff, works. A lot of, tech platforms and stuff will have a developers section where they'll talk about what the developers are doing and why it's so cool. Amazon has the same type of site for their algorithm developers for all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, so I think what you're talking about there is the matching products and queries. So the components, because they have a blended score. So query, category score. This is tied in for common queries, count of clicks, add to carts and purchases. This is why people are always talking about doing add to cart. This is also calculated using the behavioral information and how often does the customer interact with the category post the current search query. And a lot of this stuff also comes down to fashion is quite difficult because what people will look at in the fashion category to what they buy, they might go and look at some really nice stuff and it's expensive and it's out their price range and they're price sensitive. What they buy is different. So if that was served on that basis, then Amazon's fashion area would look more like a flea market, as an example. Because it'd be all over the place, right? A blend between cheap items and expensive. What people browse and what people buy are often two different things in terms of their availability. So then they have to use these different areas of blending to make that work based on previous add to carts and purchases to serve up the right information.
Yeah, and this is going back to a lot of Anthony's stuff about some of the internal wikis that have been going around. Which is, you see 20 or 30 plus different factors going into an algorithm, and that's just the stuff that we know about, let alone, how else they might blend things, especially if they're using any sort of machine learning, we don't know. But it's not quite as easy usually as doing one thing and you hit the magic result anymore. There are a lot of different factors involved.
Evelyn, what have you been working on with your engineers at the moment? I know normally you keep stuff under the hood, but what's been going on? What's some interesting stuff that you and your engineers have found recently that you can share?
The recent change is that external algorithm is a lot more important these days. So we're working on automating a process of creating all kinds of social media posts and links for Amazon sellers specifically. And the most surprising thing that I've seen maybe in the last month is that if you have strong links to your Amazon listing and you go out of stock for a month and then you go back in stock, there is no impact whatsoever. Right. Versus if you've seen in the past, we had always this problem, especially during the COVID period. We've been out of stock a lot of times, constantly actually, a lot of trouble with getting stock into the warehouses. And then it was a trouble getting back and stuff. So I'm not sure if this is a temporary change just to address this situation from Amazon's part, or if it's a constant change. But I've seen that actually having a lot of these links with specific URL structures and from specific domains actually helps with getting back in track.
Yeah. No, makes sense. Anthony, what have you been? You're always tinkering under the hood, and I know you've done a lot of stuff with Howard Tai as well. What are some of the standout things that you've seen over the last year, like observations and stuff?
I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've observed is still pretty standardized. You know, the formula for what works seems to be as close as possible mapping to a real customer journey, which we've been kind of saying for over a year now. Some of the cool things that we stumbled upon, though, was the impact of utilizing Amazon Associates, which we accidentally stumbled on by using social media influencers, particularly on TikTok and Instagram. You know, a lot of the hype around that was, hey, this is a new strategy you can use and you can get these influencers. And influencer marketing is kind of a buzzword, and that's cool. But on the back end, you got to ask, well, why does that work? And it appears to be because there's a certain level of, weighting that goes to reward listings that are effectively marketed by this army of Amazon affiliates. And so that was pretty interesting. Yeah. And then kind of the discovery that it appears, and I'm sure that there's a lot of nuance to this that somebody like Evelyn, for example, could probably drill down in more. Yeah. But using the share buttons to do a lot of promotions, it appears that so long as the keyword is in the referring URL, whatever that referring URL is, it looks like that is the key, at least for the most part, to assigning rank weight to a specific keyword. So that actually made a lot of the building out of URL structures a ton easier for us once we figured that out.
Yeah. What's your take on, like, my take on it, and all the research papers and stuff I've read is I see a conversion. The final conversion is effectively, if you draw it back, the customer journey, it's a set of micro conversion. So it's a conversion is on a continuum. So interaction with the listing, right? Add to cart, that's a micro conversion as well. Time on page, where the customer goes next. All of those elements, do they click, open up the images? And think once you add all of those, they all become a series of credits. And I think that goes towards it as well with the aspect of the mix and match, because if they've got identical products that are very much price similar and everything else, then one of the other aspects is to weigh off and measure the engagement with that listing versus the next listing in terms of their calculation. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, that's 100% the way we've seen it work. And essentially, you can trace that all back to what this does is it impacts relevance. So if you have two identical products, how do you know that one is more relevant than the other? It's not just going to be based on sales, and the reason for that is, because there's a lot of abandoned cart. Believe it or not, the end sale doesn't always mean that the buyer specifically had the most optimized experience on the website. That's the reason why add to carts are so important. But aside from add to carts, all of that listing activity just slowly shows Amazon, this is relevant. And all of that stuff is also on a timeline, which is the reason why you can have bots do all that stuff, and then it won't work, because over time, if no conversions to the cart occur, then Amazon knows something fishy's going on. So it's a really complex, interesting system.
Well, I've made some notes here, like just going back to what you said. There's one of the videos, the Daria Soronka from A9 that I watched a while back, took some notes and looked at some of her, I think it was on GitHub, some of her research papers and stuff, because she covers a lot of stuff that if people can sit there and understand her accent and go through it, there's a lot to be absorbed from it. So she broke it down in her presentation. Is like, there's positive labels and there's negative labels. So a click, an add to cart, a purchase. And then they've got a section for consumed. That is led by digital categories, so such as Kindle and Amazon Music. So for instance, if you drink a cola, Amazon can't see that as an experience. But if you stream a movie or play songs, the data can be captured, and it's going to be great training data on that side of things. And then on the negative side, there are two main ones, which is ignored results. So product was shown, but no action was taken. And if the customer is on the results page, but for instance, the search results page, and then it picks number 3, but then number 1 and 2 gets a negative vote attribution of some kind, because it chose the third one instead of the top 2. Because I think 66% of searches that appear on Amazon will be clicked on the first 3 positions. I can't remember whether that was an Amazon data, but I haven't got the statistics in front of me, but I'm sure it's 66%. Zach, so what stuff are you working on at the moment in terms of, because I know that you've been doing a lot of drop shipping, you do a lot of building of sites and stuff.
Almost relaxing, not dealing with the risk of, Amazon suspension, although I did get a Google suspension for a different thing.
Go on. What's that all about?
It's fucking up my life. Working around that now. And then, it's been going great. Tons of Google shopping, lots of SEO. And I mean, I have like almost $70,000 of orders on back order though. Like everything logistics wise is like totally fucked in America. Everything supply dealing with, because I do like made in America suppliers, or like, they're at least importing, they're all American brands, and everyone's supply chain is a mess, and all the logistics, LTL freight, because I'm shipping like, refrigerators and stuff, that's a mess. And so those are my main challenges, and I've been able to relax a bit, not worry about like the Amazon ranking algorithm, because I feel like in a lot of cases, like there's this huge difference between maybe like Chinese in the West and which is like, whenever I talk to a Western seller about their launch strategy, like it's like a 40-minute long conversation of them like describing like every click and every crazy thing. But sometimes like all you need to do is just fucking sell more, like get more sales and get more clicks and, have a better product. And then like a lot of these algorithm stuff kind of like works out. So I know a lot of people that like to make things like just way too crazy and complicated. But then when I talk to a lot of like 8-figure sellers, I don't know, man, I just sell more. And sometimes that's like what you got to do. Like with some of my stuff, like I didn't open up Bing ads for like 3 months. It was running, but I like didn't even notice. And then I opened it up and was like, oh, hey, in like the last 2 weeks, I made like $8,000 of sales from Bing ads, and I didn't even open this thing up. I spent like $100, and sometimes just sell more and don't worry too much.
Do you think we all overthink it sometimes?
That's kind of our job in the Amazon ecosystem. right? I mean, like Danny, you've put out content for like a year and a half now every day. Like,
not now every day, but for a long. Yeah. No, exactly. So you have to keep working, go back under the hood and find stuff to put out there. Sometimes it's tough to get content, but I've got Isabella now and Sharon, so they're holding up the fort. Yeah, on Monday and Thursday.
I saw you guys were getting like Jason A10 on here, and like, oh my god, this is like such a blending of like Amazon and affiliate. Like Jason's a fucking beast. Like he's a monster at this stuff. Like he doesn't prepare for any speech ever for like the biggest marketing conference. He's like, I'll figure it out. Goes out there, kills it. He's out. Like he just talks. He doesn't have a spreadsheet, like a slideshow or anything. And I think it's really cool to see kind of those worlds like merging up, and it's amazing that it's happening on your show.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy with the development, what those guys are up to. But less about us, more about you guys. Evelyn, what's going on with you at the moment? I haven't seen you for about a year. You seem to have not gone quiet, but because you've not been out on the road, have you got big plans coming over the next few weeks as COVID clears?
Things are not.
Like Jason, like
Canada. There was some echo.
Yeah.
For now it's slow here. They just started to open a little bit the restaurants and the shops and stuff, but it's still not quite sure what's happening.
But what do you have planned? You got any Orange Hat events and stuff lined up that you're doing?
I haven't planned anything for now. Right now I'm just focusing on Amazon's business and on my mastermind, and that's all I'm doing right now. Taking it slow and waiting for better times. Okay.
What about your software and stuff? You got anything new developing there? Any new features and stuff?
I have something very special coming, but it's
You're going to show me a bit of Encore? We're going to keep it a secret for now, or
I should keep it secret for now.
Okay.
But it will be something big in the market, in the Amazon world.
Yeah. Sounds good. And Anthony, you putting out content? You say me, Zach, I'm not putting out content every day anymore. Anthony is, though. How's the TikTok and stuff doing? You're still doing that daily, aren't you?
Yes, still putting out content, and then I will also be coordinating content distribution for Canopy. So multiplying the efforts to essentially flood the internet with hopefully good advice on how to market and scale businesses online.
So let me ask you, and it's beneficial for people that are listening back because they're creating content for their Amazon business. It might be slightly different, but it's a machine that you have to keep going. And like Zach, as he knows, I'm not doing every day, but you are. The difference is I just interview smart people and hopefully ask the right questions. There's nothing smart about me, but you are face to camera, creating content and putting it out every single day. Now that's a harder job far harder than mine. I just point the microphone and speak to people.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. Basically, I don't think that anything that I do is super difficult. Like I appreciate the fact that people think that I have all this knowledge, but truth of the matter is I listen to audiobooks every day. I talk to smart guys like Zach and Evelyn regularly, and then I learn stuff and then I share it. Like literally, it's that simple, right? Everybody can be doing this too. The only difference is I'm just kind of helping guide them like, hey, here's a direction you might not have thought about. This is just, I'm comfortable in front of the camera, so I'm willing to share that information with you.
Yeah. And it's not a course. Effectively, you're sharing, like what the podcast does is that we're not doing like in-depth courses where the people have in their handhelds, but it's content for people to consume to then hopefully inspire them, go off and do stuff and maybe take a deeper look at something, maybe pick up a course or maybe develop their skills stronger in that area. So we might as well wrap up the show quite soon. We kind of covered it. So we all agree it's a fucking myth. There's no such thing as A10. And we should never have to speak about it ever again. True?
Yes.
Yeah, you can just post a link to this video on every Facebook.
Every time A10 comes up, we'll post this video. Yeah.
Every time, build a bot that does it automatically. Like scrape Facebook, and anytime somebody says A10, just here's the link.
Cool. All right, gents. Zach, best way that people can reach you.
All right, so no one can reach me. I'm done with that. No more scheduled calls, no more anything. But if you want to talk, you can go on Clubhouse, and if I'm online, you can like ping me in a room, or I'm always in like the blank room on Clubhouse. But yeah, for 2 more months, I'm not doing a single fucking scheduled call. I'm done with this.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. So, Anthony, that's quite fierce from you, Zach. Because you're tired, aren't you, mate? It's late over there.
Yo, my sleep schedule is all over the place. I'm like flopping every day between day and night because I have to call like American businesses. So I find that like scheduled calls leave me with like really weird gaps in my time, or like if I don't know my sleep schedule a couple days in advance, and I'm like, oh, this is the opposite of like my entire schedule. Also, I manage like multiple stores, software projects, like all kinds of other stuff going on.
I just want people to know that you are a lovely gentleman. You are a nice guy. I know you sound a bit miserable saying, don't contact me for the next 2 months, but when we get out on the road, if you're at an event, you're very,
it's the best way.
But I'm saying when we're at events, you're always chatting to people and answering questions as well, aren't you? So, Anthony.
Oh, he is. I can attest to that. If you buy him a couple beers, you'll know.
Oh, yeah, he's anyone. If you buy him 2 beers, he's anyone. Yeah.
Same thing to you, Anthony. We almost made you miss your speech.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, we won't. We'll save that one for another day. That will be for the aftercut. So, Anthony, can't keep up. Where do we send people now to find you?
If you want to email me directly, anthonylee@canopymanagement.com. Otherwise, I'm all over social media, and it's all the same handle, @AnthonyLee991. That's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, @AnthonyLee991.
Nice. Evelyn, best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, Facebook Messenger. It's the best way for me. So.
Cool. All right, gents. Thank you again for coming on and giving up your time. I look forward to seeing all you boys very soon. Guys, I'll be back here tomorrow. We've got another aggregators roundtable. It's a rebuttal of last week's show when we brought in the investment banker. So we should have Perch on, Frasio, Elevate Brands, and Sellerex, I think, for a nice roundtable tomorrow. So take care of yourself and your family. Much love. I'll be back here 4 p.m. tomorrow.
Bye.